then you're done.
I have a lesbian couple on after this.
And then you're done?
And then I'm done, and I wanted to switch you with them.
No.
So we
I'm
can hang
going to wait
out.
for you. I'm going to hang out. I can't hang out as long to write because I got to get into
You're
writing.
going to wait for me?
Yes. I'm going to go to UPS.
No.
Yes, I got to go to UPS and deliver a package.
I'm not. We don't have plans now.
No, I want
moved
1
on.
hour. I just want 1 hour after. I'm staying. That's it. I'll wait right outside the door.
Robby, I don't want to hang out 3:15 to 4:15.
No, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do.
I'm not available.
No, I have to talk privately to you. I'm not allowed to talk. Okay, so I'm talking privately to you.
You always push it.
I push it. That's what I do.
Why? You're like
buttons.
a kid who you're like, don't say fuck, and then all day you're like, I just.
This is what happens.
Why
I got in
like
trouble all the time. I love attention. I
could tell that.
I grew up without a father, Ali. Do we need to go rehash everything? Why am I like this? My mother is autistic. My father is homeless. I grew up without a pot to piss in. Yeah, he is, as a matter of fact.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And if you had any compassion in your heart, you would understand maybe why I am the way I am.
But I don't like that you play this card every time.
No, and it only gets worse.
You talk about this.
It only gets worse with me. Nothing gets better.
Do you think you're just not taking radical responsibility for your life by constantly bringing up your childhood and how you're a victim to circumstance?
No, here's the whole thing. Chris Rock has this thing that everybody wants to be a victim.
Yeah.
To me, victimhood, being a victim I didn't know it was elective. You're either a victim of a crime or you're not. Like Chris Rock, okay, he was hit by Will Smith. So he goes, I'm not a victim. Well, Chris, you are. You were hit. You're a victim of being hit by Will Smith. It's not an opinion.
Yeah, he was a victim of
You
that.
are a victim of being hit. He's like, I'm not a victim. You don't get to say whether you're a victim or not, just like you don't get to say if you're a girl or a boy or not. Kidding. Kidding. But you know what I mean? You don't get to say. So, yes, I am a victim of my childhood. It is what it is, whether I want to be. We're all victims of our childhood,
but it's
not
your choice to...
Not you, fellas, not you.
Me too. Even though by your metric and by a lot of metrics, I didn't deal. Well, I didn't. The truth is, I didn't deal with the circumstances you dealt with.
No, I think you got a pretty nice childhood over there.
I had a pretty nice
Pretty
childhood,
nice view
and
out of the windows.
because
Shutters on the windows and stuff.
and because of that, I have no problems. Though would be the next assumption you're making.
No real problems.
No problems in terms of...
You have problems. You have rich people problems. You have champagne problems, Taylor Swift saying it best. You have ADHD, whatever the mental illness is.
I do not. You really think of me like that?
No, what do you have?
I don't have ADHD.
Well, you have some type of mental. Which mental you have?
What, mental depression?
Depression?
I probably have depression and anxiety. So, but doesn't that just go to show you that, regardless, you're going to be depressed? Regardless of your circumstance, people can be depressed. And
yeah, they can
think
be.
It's not real?
I don't think you have to be. I think
Yeah.
it's real. I think it's a lack of appreciation.
But why is that? But that basically says the integrity of someone's mental illness, if they have money, is not.
It's less to me.
Yeah, to you.
To me. Yeah, everything is to me. I live a world. When everybody goes, sometimes I hear the expression, the world doesn't revolve around you. I don't really understand that because I can only see the world from my vantage point.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm at the center of a circle, like a protractor. Remember protractors when you drew a circle?
Yeah.
So I'm the point on the protractor.
Yeah.
And I can only ever see it from me.
Yeah.
So to me, the world does revolve, my world.
Yeah.
From everywhere I look, I can only see it from me.
Yeah.
So I don't understand weird expressions like that. But yes, my opinion is your problems are less. I could be wrong, but to me, I'm right.
Well, I mean, I want to stand up for the integrity of how I feel, but I also recognize what you're saying and that I didn't deal with some of these things.
Yeah,
I'll never know what it's like to have dealt with that.
You'll never know.
I know. But don't I have my own stuff that matters? Yeah.
I mean, matters to who? To you.
Me. I'm the center of my universe.
Great. So look how self-centered she is. You see this? You see this?
What?
You have it here. I'm the center of the universe. Ali Kolbert. You should put that on a T-shirt.
I'm trying to agree with you. You're very difficult.
I'm very difficult. We're gonna hang out 1 hour after.
We're not hanging out 1 hour.
Yes, 1 hour. I'm all the way here. I'm all the way here. Stop it. I got to go to UPS, ship a package.
You still carry this through to this day that your problems and your schedule is more important and everything is more important than mine. You don't view me as real because I didn't have your experience growing up.
I view you as real. I think you're here.
Why are you just are you in a mood right now? Or
In
you're just,
such a mood. I
what
rushed
happened to
over
you?
here. I asked for 15, which is a leniency.
I
I said, hey, listen, I'm driving for the east side.
so
You don't think I
difficult,
helped
Robby.
my friend, who, by the way, grew up very similarly to you? You don't think I helped her with one of her mental illnesses this morning? You don't think I drove her to Whittier and helped her get a prescription from my sister's boyfriend who's a doctor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't think I did that last minute? So I said, hey, any mercy on starting this at 1:15, not 1?
And what did I say? Absolutely.
And you said,
I have
no,
someone
we'll
after.
have to do 4, okay, because it's $45 an hour here. Okay, which 15 minutes, what? What's 45 divided?
I
So
don't
less than
know. I just
20,
made the reservation. I'm
$15.
sorry.
So it is what it is. So so you got me in
I'll
a
tell
rush,
you-
and I'm in a mood.
Is that real?
You think your problems
Are
are similar to mine? No, do you? I'm clearly I'm clearly ill. Like you, like me bringing this up. You're like, why do you always bring this up? If you had my life, you would talk about it even 10 times more. This is me controlled. If it was up to me, all I would be is woe is me, all day long. All day long. How are you?
you know, my stomach's been so bad lately,
Of course.
and I do have Crohn's disease.
You were diagnosed?
Yeah, diagnosed.
When did this happen?
I was diagnosed in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
14.
You on Remicade?
I am on Stelara.
Okay. Are you impressed that I know what Remicade is?
How do you know what that is?
You don't think I've heard about rich people with Crohn's disease? You better wake up.
What
You
do
better
think,
wake up.
What do,
I'm
you're,
kidding.
Okay, so I'm in a lot of pain.
Okay.
because of my
Have you
stomach.
had any of your intestines removed?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Don't say not yet. God willing, not yet. Okay. And it's not going to happen. You don't have to say not yet, like you already assume the worst.
No, I don't assume the worst, but I haven't had that happen. I thought you were going to say if I haven't had them removed, I don't really have Crohn's disease.
No, you have Crohn's disease. You're Jewish. It happens.
So I've been quite sick, and the only thing that stops my stomach from hurting is if I take a hit of a joint.
Okay. Well, here we go with a drug addict.
I took a hit. What I was going to say is I took a hit. And
Oh,
about
so you're
45 minutes ago. So
high.
I'm like a little high watching Robby,
Oh, that's a lot.
and I'm just like blown away. I can't even read if you're actually like mad.
No, never. I'm also never mad.
Yeah, but
That's
it's
the thing about
because
me.
you're low grade angry constantly.
No, I'm not angry. This is just me. This is me
This
happy.
is a lot, dude.
If I'm silent, there's an issue.
Really.
If I'm talking, this is good, Rob. This is good, Rob. You're getting a percent of me that not a lot of people get.
What's
Because I
that?
love you so much. My full love, which is my full me being
It's intense. I don't know
it's
how
very
many people
intense.
can take it. Your
Lots of
full
people
love.
can take it. You'd be surprised. People are so boring that when somebody interesting comes along, I find they have room
Do
for
they
it.
get what you're saying? How you are? Do they feel?
I don't care. I don't know. You got to ask them.
Who do you think understands you the most in the world? Your siblings.
In some ways, I think you really understand me. I think a lot of people understand me.
Yeah.
I don't think you're confused by me. You're like, oh, that's Robby.
Do you feel that the people you date are so enamored by you because they view it as like so different than them?
Yeah. I think that the people I date are enamored by me,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
But did they fall in love with you first seeing you perform or doing a
No, I
something
hope
like that?
not. I don't know.
Come on, the last one you dated was always at the shows.
Yeah, they're very supportive. They're supportive for sure. But
That must
most
but
people
don't you
haven't
think
seen-
that turns them on? Because you have a bit of a
It could.
persona on social media, like, and you do have this
what
in
is
real
my
life
persona?
too. It's like I'm the best ever.
I-
Once again, I kill
Yeah. Well, I do kill.
the
I
best
like to be honest.
comedian. 10 out of 10 on the show. There's no one good after me. I'm the best on this. This is the best show in LA.
Yeah.
Another podcast that I've made brilliant by being on it.
Yeah, I do very well on podcasts. I mean, I'm not here to tell mices. I'm not here to tell stories.
I mean,
I'm telling you,
do
you know,
you see that are you coming across as arrogant in a sort of a hot
No.
way?
zero.
You just believe it and know it to be true.
Yeah, if I thought it was false, I wouldn't say it, and I don't say it every time. I don't post everything, but when I killed, I let people know. By the way, I'm out here. Come see a good show. You know, I think why it comes off as I think yes, it could be if you don't understand my context of me being me,
Yeah.
it's arrogance. When you understand the context, and again, I bring it back
So
to
you're
the
victim.
woe is me. Is
When you know that you're a victim, we let it slide.
no, it's not that I'm a victim. First of all, yes, I'm a victim of a certain.
You have a
neglect.
victim mentality. That's fine.
It's not a mentality. It's a factual statement that I was a victim of neglect growing up.
Okay.
Okay. It's not a victim mentality. It's that
But some people at a certain point put down the story of being a victim.
Well, what I do is I redirect it to be successful.
Yeah.
And to make a really nice life. So I don't think you get over things. It's like I tell my little sister about our father. Listen, we don't have a father. We didn't grow up with a father, and he's not good anyway. If he was here, he's not the right type of father. He's, not a healthy man. But you never get over that. I think people who don't grow up with that experience think, well, at a certain point you get over it. But for me, it's like being a diabetic. You never are cured of diabetes, but you learn to manage it. You take your insulin daily. You check your blood pressure levels. That's what I do with not having a father. That I will never get over it, but I don't have to have a pressure to get over it. There's not going to be an end point that, I didn't have a father and I'm fine. I'm much better at managing it than when I was, say, 10. When you're still in love with your father or something like that, it's much harder to manage when you're a child. When you grow up and you realize, this is actually has given me some grit. This has given me some strength. You manage it better.
How
so
do you
that's
manage
what I
it?
do.
What's your insulin?
By talking about it, by just, it would have been lovely to have a father. By not saying I'm over it, it would have been, was a great kid. I was straight A's. He's a fun guy. I'm a fun guy. We would have had a good time together. So I don't say that I can't think about that or that I can't be sad or that, I can enjoy, as I grow older, I used to think, okay, my father is not here. My father is not here. Sorry, when I was younger. Now, as I'm growing, I realize that I'm somewhat of my father, whether we're 50% of each of our parents or 30% and the other 30%, is ourselves. 30% your father, 30% your mother, 30% your unique special syrup, whatever it is. And I think probably, we become more ourselves. Those percentages, maybe I work up to 50, to 60, to 70. But I get to have my father through the ways that I'm like him in my life. My father is really charismatic, really charming, really funny, really brilliant, and I feel him in me. So I do have a relationship with my father. It's just not in his body, but I get to experience some parts of him, and I find that really joyful. I do enjoy those parts of me. When sometimes I put on my glasses and I look in the mirror and I see my dad's eyes and I'm like, it's just nice that he's there in the ways that he can be there. So I don't take anything like that for granted. But talking about it for me, because I love to talk, my personal therapy for me is I love to talk. Some people aren't talkers. They like to draw or whatever they do. But for me, talking about it is a way to keep him alive, and living out his best qualities in myself has been a joy to see him live in a certain light.
Yeah.
So those are the ways that I manage it, emotionally speaking. So when it comes off that I'm arrogant, that I'm the best, I think when you grow up, I didn't have active parents. Yeah. So I was never encouraged or told I was particularly, and that's unfair a bit to my mother. My mother encouraged my art and stuff like that. I used to paint and draw all the time until I found comedy. And my mother and my grandfather were actually really, really big supporters of that. And my mother did, I expressed some acting or theatrical, and she did what she could. But I didn't have a parent who was excited, I wouldn't say that I was encouraged. I would say, if anything, we were discouraged. If I wanted to do something, my mother would be like, I can't pay for all that, or, I can't, so I just learned to kind of not stress her out. When I got into McGill University, it's nothing on scholarship. I just didn't tell her. I only applied to that school. And then I just said, hey, Ma, I start McGill tomorrow. I'm moving out.
Really?
Yeah. And she was at first she was right away. It was I can't pay for all that.
Right.
And I was like, don't even worry. It's covered. I did everything. And then she was like, okay, well,
wow.
if you really want to do that, because she was very much school is a lot of money, and, but I really felt like it was my chance to compete, or have a more normal, I'm going to be with people who have a privileged background. I think that'll push me to have more.
Wow.
Financially. So I really got to be my own parent in a big way, moving out at like 17, 18, doing that stuff. And part of that was not just the physical aspects of being a parent, of doing my own groceries and finding laundry and doing all that. It was the emotional of really good job, Rob. You did a great job. If I aced a test, I would buy a beer or something. I would always make sure that you did really good, and just like less on the negative and more on like really like I'm proud of you, because I look at my 7-year-old self and I look at her and how impatient she is, and I go, Rob, I'm trying to get you there. I am doing, you gotta. I'm like both parents. I talk to her because she's like, it's not enough. It's not enough. I am doing what I can to get us there. You got to just trust me.
Wow.
That I'm doing everything I can to get us where you want to go.
Wow.
And I hear you. I hear you. And slow and steady. But we have to do this. This is the way it's done. We can't. So I really take the self-parenting thing almost extreme, almost even accidentally, that, yeah, if I do well at anything now, I don't let it go unnoticed. I notice myself a lot.
Wow. Holy shit. That was so good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, my God. That was such a good answer.
Thank you.
It's so...
So with the context of knowing me like that.
Oh my God, I'm blown away. Like this is what happens when I listen to you is like, well, I have so much to say about what you just said, but like you come in hot.
Coming hot.
You say things that trigger me. I'm
course.
very sensitive to you.
I'm very triggering.
I'm very sensitive to you because and then I hear you say this, you have this just gorgeous, eloquent, stunning answer.
Thank
and
you.
I get so frustrated because I remember I'm like, oh, you're so brilliant. I want to be close to you. I want you to like me.
I love you forever.
And then I just think about this, your issues are fake, you stupid rich kid. And I'm this combination
I never
of
call
just
you
like,
stupid. I think you're one of the
no,
most
I
brilliant
know, but
people.
Just the way you like speak is like, I don't know that many people that are as eloquent and just brilliant as you.
Well, thank you. Wow, that's that's almost making me emotional. That's
I'm
really
just like
high
listening to you. I'm
getting
feeling emotional a little bit.
I know. Can we have a hug?
Yeah. I love you too so much. I love you. I mean, I just admire you so much. And
well, thank you.
I just don't even know who was. And I get sad thinking about that. I'm getting sad thinking about you as a little kid like that.
I know.
And I get sad thinking that you, like, it's just like I want you to have safety and, like.
I know. And I want that too.
You know, like, who was guiding you? Like,
well,
who, like, how did you do? I hate thinking about you like that. And you didn't have anyone.
Friends like kids. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't have anyone. So I look at what I do have now.
Yeah.
Like, I have 9 siblings. We're not all close, but I am close with a bunch of them. And there was a co-raising element that I don't think exists in a nuclear family, the families that we're used to seeing. And that's really important for me. I now have, and I like having friends, and I love you so much, but having sisters is really another level for me. Because it's like,
thank God for sisters.
A friend that I can fight with and move on, and we know everything, and we love so deeply one another, and we know exactly that we had the same psychotic parents. Is just a miracle. And I did have my late grandfather, who was amazing, and the kind of guy that gave me the spirit that I want, that he would come over and I wanted to paint like him. He painted scenery and the Montreal landscapes, just beautifully, oil paints. And he would buy me acrylic paint and I would paint. And once he came over and he's like, it's a masterpiece. We got to go frame it. I'm like, what? He's like, it's a masterpiece. Get in the car. We got to go frame it. I'm like, right now? I'm like, Zadie has to go frame my painting. My mother's like, well, you better go.
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm in the car. And, framing is so expensive now. Looking, I'm like, I see kid like you who would do the gold.
Oh my God.
And the spirit of somebody like that, an example, like that's who I want to be.
Yeah.
That's and that's who I am for myself, and that's who I am for my little sisters, and that's who I am. Like, that's just part of me. I get to be blood related to this man who's just such a gem.
Yeah.
That I really have so much. Also, it's given me a life of full meaning, of getting to know myself. I think we learn each other. We learn ourselves, from my experience, in darker times. Like, when it's I do wish I hadn't had to learn so much so early on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's prepared me for my life. My sister is applying to social work. Fingers crossed she gets in, my God. But she volunteers all the time. She's just an angel of a person, much nicer than me. You'd love her.
Yeah.
She's more on the Canadian side.
Uh-huh.
She got a lot more of that. But we look at my mother, and my mother was not emotionally available. My mother was very much like as if you pictured an old Russian lady, like meat and potatoes. Like these kids are going to be fed, they're going to be housed, and they're going to be educated, period. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's going to be no frills. My mother never talked to us emotional, nothing like that. Never said, love you, I love you. My father was very affectionate. I'm very affectionate. But when he was out of the house, my mother now, because we're so affectionate with each other, the siblings, we make sure to say it so many times, even though I'm like, okay, we love each other. We don't have to say it again in this conversation. I guess it's starting to, and then, but my mother now will say, I love you. We've had to train her to do that. But my mother didn't do things like that. She didn't articulate her feelings or anything, which I think a lot of people are used to. But she was, doing 16 loads of laundry a day. Like if I got in trouble, which was all the time in school, she would unplug the phone. They're not going to be calling home when she has 16 loads of laundry. If she picked up, she's like, she's your responsibility from 8 to 4. So she can sit in the office. And I would sit in the office. My mother never came to get me. But one thing, like we realized back in helping my sister and reading her letter to apply to this school was like, my mother went back to school when she became a single parent. My grandfather was a lot more involved, but my mother, for herself, decided to go back to school and earn her bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. And she never made any word of it. But over the course of 15 years, my mother and I graduated McGill with my bachelor's in commerce the same year as my mother graduated from university. Except my mother took 10, 15 years to do it. Mm-hmm. And I took the 3.5 years, right, the 4 years.
What was her degree?
Hers was in history and English. And she went once a week. She did a night class once a week. And sometimes she had a paper due and she had her typewriter set up. And we just knew, like, oh, Maha school. And then, this woman just showed, she didn't explain anything, but the commitment it takes to do a degree over 10 years whilst raising 10 kids is so crazy that she just became the example we needed. She was the perfect parent for us because she knew subconsciously, I don't think, or accidentally or whatever, or Hashem, or it was set up perfectly, that we wouldn't have a lot of that guidance, that we're going to be on our own quite a bit. And so she just did things to show perseverance and commitment like that. Like that's why when in relationships where people might think, oh, well, you don't have commitment issues, you're with somebody 5 years. I'm terrific at commitment. I've committed to this pursuit of my life and not compromising on doing what I want with my life and giving myself that dream. And I've over 10 years into that commitment, and I feel as committed as I ever was. I'm ready for another 10. I'm ready for 20. I'm ready for whatever. So, but it's seeing that example, like us reading back and realizing, like, Ma just went to school once a week. Like, we don't even know what that entails.
Right.
She got on the bus. She transferred to the subway. She got to class. She came home. She had papers due. I love that she went to school with like 20-year-olds. Some of her classes were with other mature students, but some were with just undergraduates. And they had a group project, and my mother is like so autistic and into school and stuff. And she, and they're like, okay, and you'll have to find a group. And this semester, it's the whole thing is a group project, sociology, whatever. And she just turns to the girl, like, could have been you. Hi, Ali. My name is Constance Ann Hoffman, and I would like to be your partner. Like, you can't say no to her. She's like 45. Like, what are you going to say?
Right.
Like, you have to say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And my mother loves schoolwork. So when the kids go to bed, she's up, she's typing. She goes, so I did the first part of my part. If you want to talk, like, most people want to work last minute.
Right.
You can't work last minute if you're in a group project with my mother.
Oh, my
She gets to the reading the next day. She can't wait.
Oh, wow.
So interesting. You know what I mean? So so I remember being like 15, 16, some like bitch comes to the door. She must have been like 20.
Yeah.
She's like, hi, I'm here for Connie. And I'm like, Ma, Ma, somebody's here. She's like, oh, come. Okay, my kids haven't gone to bed yet, so we'll just go into the kitchen.
Talks?
Yeah, we'll just go to the kitchen. And they were like, literally, like, this girl must have been traumatized coming to this house.
Oh my God, that your mom ended up being her partner.
Yeah, all semester. Nothing you can do. You can't say no.
Right. Oh,
she's probably looking at her friends like,
I'm with Connie Hoffman.
I got, and my mother has, you better believe she did her readings.
Yeah.
And she does everything on the typewriter. This girl has a laptop.
Oh, wow.
My mother hands her.
Do you have a typewriter?
No, but you'll just staple it together. So it's just, it's things like that. It's seeing examples. I do think that I think everything can fall into place. And I think seeing the picture, connecting the dots is really helpful for me to like, I see the collage. I see it.
Did you, when you went to school then, were you always like parenting your younger siblings? Or you didn't?
Yeah, so I think the like, you know, on that comment, it's just like people who grew up, you know, 2 kids, 3 kids, 2 parents, that sort of like nuclear family. It's different because there's 2 to 1 or 2 to 2 or whatever. But when you're in, you know, we're 10 kids in about 12 years, there's almost a community co-raising that happens.
Right.
Where my mother is spread too thin. She does have to do food, all this stuff.
How does she even do that?
She cooked every day.
How do you do food
insane.
for 10 kids?
She did it every day. And all I did was say
cooking?
It's disgusting. Now I love it. Like all I did was like,
this is terrible.
Yeah, I would come home and be like, stew again. Now I love the stew.
Right.
Okay, but like, oh my God. I would see that crock pot. I knew it was like 3 days of dinner. Until that crock pot was done.
Oh my God.
We're nothing. And she'd be like, you sit down and eat. You know, it was just, and she cooked every single day. And we ate healthy randomly because, healthy food used to be cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, processed foods. Like we just wanted like Kraft singles and stuff like that, but that's expensive.
Right.
My mom had blocks of cheese that, you know, which is actually now it's like, that's what people want.
And what are you doing? What is breakfast?
Cheerios and Rice Krispies on the kitchen table.
All 10
we woke up. This is how we woke up every single morning.
Yeah.
So we had a girl's room, a boy's room, my mom's room, my great uncle Eddie downstairs.
Yeah.
My mother clicked the lights on. Up, 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 up. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm this like I could die.
Right.
Up, 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 up. Cheerios and Rice Krispies on the kitchen table. Cheerios and Rice Krispies. I don't care what you have. If you're sick, if you didn't study for a quiz, everybody is getting out of my house today.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Just uniforms go. I don't care. Get out of my house. I don't care.
Are you guys sharing clothes?
Yeah. Yeah, we shared clothes.
You don't each have your own, like, are you?
Yeah, no, we each had our own things. There was major fights over clothes. We would steal each other's clothes. Typical sister stuff. We had a big socks box. We had a huge sock, like a hamper. Mm-hmm. My mother just stopped matching socks. So you'd have to like go and find like 2 socks. So we'd all be around there. And it was just so many socks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she stopped matching socks at some point. So
and how is getting people down to sleep?
Get out. It's 8:30 bedtime. Just shut up. She would lock the door.
But then you're in your room that you're sharing with how many of your sisters?
I would scream the tantrums I threw on the floor, screaming. You think I'm like, this is me stable.
Yeah, I thought you had a tantrum 30 minutes ago.
That's not a tantrum.
I know.
That's actually, I'm in good spirits. Screaming the top of my lungs on the floor. Like, they would call me psycho. Like, was
that your reputation?
Yeah, in the house, I was like, I'll fucking rage. If I don't want to go to bed.
You were like twisted.
Yeah, I'm not good with authority. I'm not good with all of that. But my mother, also a blessing from Hashem above, she is hearing impaired, probably from kids yelling. She would just take off her hearing aids. She'd read a book.
Oh,
she didn't care at all. She didn't care at all. She was like, I'm taking my hearing aids off. And that would be it.
And did you have like a great co-conspirator in your siblings? Was one of them like the biggest ally?
We always had dramas.
Who?
So yes, sometimes
was there
you're
an
getting
enemy?
Along. No, but like small things. Like I remember once I stole my sister's shirt. And my other sister she goes, you took her shirt without asking. She's my sister. I care about. I'm like, I'm your sister too. What is this?
Oh, that's weird when siblings do that. I've seen.
It's like I'm also your sister.
Right.
So why are you taking? Yeah, no. There's things like that. But there's also like ebbs and flows. There's fights and making up. That's why I think I'm also.
Was there beat ups?
Massive.
Physical
massively.
beatdowns.
Yeah. My brothers all over each other. I can't lift them. Leave me. I can't lift them. I can't lift them. My brothers were, we were teenagers, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17
Right.
in a house.
Yeah.
On top of each other, fucking fighting over a TV remote. Like, it could be
What's the bathroom
psycho.
situation?
We had one bathroom. We had actually 1.5. We had, if I'm really honest, 3 bathrooms. The one downstairs did not work, but it was technically a bathroom.
Yeah, okay.
But it was like covered in sawdust. I don't know if the toilet
Was
ever
that
worked.
Uncle Eddie's in
That's
suite?
Uncle Eddie's, yeah. So it was like, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know if the toilet worked or whatever, but also it was terrifying. Then in my mother's room, we had a little like bathroom, no bath or shower, just like a toilet, and that was great. Yeah. And I lived in that room at some point. Me and my 2 sisters were in that room, and then we moved to another room. My mother got that room. And then my great uncle moved into that room because he couldn't do stairs anymore. So anyway, we've all been in every room. There's only like 3 rooms. Mm-hmm. And then so we had one full bath. We had one bath, one shower. One bath.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there, and you have to get a slot, like a time? How do you?
Yeah, I would say I'm showering at night. A lot of my brothers showered in the morning. But I'd be like, well, I said I was taking a shower. Or, if it was over 10 minutes in the shower, you'd hear, Ma, she's still in there. Ma, she's still in there. Rifka, you gotta get out. You gotta get out.
Holy hell.
Take a cold shower. Brutal.
And so at this point in time, listen, I know you've told this story a bunch of times, so I'm not asking you to tell the whole story, but your mother was a part of the Hasidic community.
Yes.
Yeah, so at some point. You're not at this point in time when you're telling this story.
No, we're conservative Jews at this point. We're like still more religious than anyone you know, but not as religious as we were born. My parents grew up probably like closer to you, like a traditional Jew, like maybe doing the holidays.
Yeah.
But at 17, she was radicalized into Hasidic Judaism, the Lubavitch sect. My father, the same thing. He was a few years older. He had just finished university, very smart, went to Berkeley, had a job. My mother is also very brilliant. Both of my parents are smarter than anybody maybe like ever that I've, but
that's no
they're
surprise.
Well, they're very eccentric, even more than me. I would say that
eccentric and smart, your parents?
Yeah, exactly. But they're the 2 people who joined like a Hasidic cult and had 10 kids, and I'm the product of it, But yeah, my mother joined probably at 17, but she was radicalized. She was, my mother is easily radical or easily into anything spiritual or community based.
Yeah.
I think she falls in love with communities and not people. So it's like if you give her a pamphlet at the end of a subway escalator, she will take it. She will read it. She's considering. Like if you give her a Jehovah's Witness, like she's not writing you off. She'll go through the materials. And, she'll go through your pitch deck and she will see how she feels. And maybe you'll get $30 a month Canadian from her, or maybe not.
That's a blessing and a curse, right?
Yes, it is. So so by this point, we're kosher still. 2 separate, we're doing all the holidays. My mother is still going to shul on Saturday, but we're like, my mother's waking us up on Saturday. Like, does anybody want to go to shul? It's like, shut up. We don't want to go. Like, it's like, get out, But sometimes the shul had lunch, so we would go. I'm like, do they have food today or not? If it's the luncheon, I could consider. You got a skirt on, you huff out. But yeah, so we were conservative. I went to a conservative Jewish school by this point, where people were like sometimes kosher inside of the house or something like that. Obviously, I was kosher I was still the most religious kid.
Really?
In that school, yeah. We were really strict
school.
about kosher. I didn't eat anything outside of the house.
What about like TV and music at this point?
We did TV and music at this point. Completely.
Okay.
Amazing.
And so what would be a night where this is a fun night, you and all the siblings? What do you guys
Simpsons episode, Sunday nights, we're around the couch. Now we had one couch like this and one couch like this.
Yeah.
Okay, and the living room probably like, where that ends, you know. So whatever. But our rules were you go up to the bathroom. If it's commercials. If commercials back, you lose your spot if you're not back.
Oh, shit.
But we only have these 2 toilets that are working because downstairs, like, it's debris. It's, like, not a real bathroom. So you'd be running to piss. And then you took my spot. And my mother would, like, if she had to break, she would be like, wow, there were some commercials. She would, like, follow the rules. Because there wasn't room for everybody to sit on the couch.
Right, so you got to make it back.
Yeah, and my older brother he was like King Tut. He would be like, this is my couch. So none of us could sit.
And he's the oldest.
He was a pig, Chazer. Yeah.
Okay, so what's like Rivka Hoffman's 10th birthday? What do you do?
I was really mean on my 10th birthday. Maybe it was my 11th.
Mean?
Yeah, I had a sleepover. I got to have a sleepover party at my grandfather's. I don't remember which birthday it is.
Okay.
But I got to have a sleepover at my grandfather's. And I thought my grandfather was rich because he lived in a condo building, like one of these 55 plus. Which my grandfather did okay.
Yeah.
But at my house, I was so embarrassed by it. It was so shitty. And we were really in like the most embarrassing neighborhood. And I went to this rich conservative school for free on scholarship. And my mother, that's why when I got in trouble, it was so bad because my mother's like, can't you just be good? Don't make any waves. Like you're there on, you know what I mean?
Right.
This is a good opportunity for you.
Right.
Please just be good.
Yeah.
But I got to have 6 friends or whatever over at my grandmother's. And I got to kind of cosplay being rich or normal or they have a normal house. There's not holes in the wall and doorknobs missing and cockroaches, which I grew up with. We always had cockroaches. But it was nice. And my great uncle Eddie drove me over there with a cake that my mother bought from Cantor's Bakery, shout out in Montreal, and it was just a regular cake, white icing, maybe pink, I said, happy birthday, Rifki. And when he opened the door for me at my grandfather's building, he dropped the cake.
Ugh.
And my great uncle Eddie, who took in 11 people on a moment's notice and moved downstairs in his own house, his own duplex.
Oh, that was originally Uncle Eddie's house.
Yeah, it's Uncle Eddie's.
Wow.
And he was driving us to school, everything. And we would tell him
Mom's
he smells
brother?
My mother's uncle, my grandfather's brother.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, you'd tell him he stinks.
He stinks.
Your grandfather's uncle.
My grandfather's brother.
Your
So
grandfather's
my
brother.
mother's uncle, my great uncle.
Got it. You're going to get oh, I have something about myself to say. It's so selfish. I'll tell you later.
Please say it, because I'll remember this. Look, you're selfish. The rule of advisor.
I wanted to tell you who my great uncle is.
Oh, yeah, who?
George Burns.
Wait, is this true?
Yeah.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
Who's George Burns?
The comedian?
That's your great uncle?
My great grandfather's first cousin.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how else to put it. Isn't that cool?
But you don't have any relation.
Family tree.
No, I understand, but do you talk to him or anything?
He's
His
dead.
family?
He's dead.
His family?
He has cousins.
Yeah, right. It's not as impressive.
I thought you would have loved it because it's a Jewish comedian.
I do I don't know much about him. That's the problem. I don't have
shocked.
a history of stuff
I'm
like
shocked.
this.
It's
I know. I don't go back and listen to much, but I should. But it is very.
You
know what? Let me
walking
re-say
history
this.
book.
It's really cool. That's the truth. I really do think that's very
Go
cool.
on about your Uncle Eddie, though. So
Okay.
your Uncle Eddie moves downstairs
I
to
get
accommodate-
jealous, and that's why I neg. But you know what? I think that's really cool.
Okay. Your Uncle Eddie goes downstairs to accommodate everyone. Your
Anyway,
Uncle Eddie's your grandfather's brother.
Yeah, when he brings me to the cake, he's 75, 80, he
Right.
smashes it. I'm like, oh my God, Eddie, you're so stupid.
You're such a...
Terrible to this man who took me in. And I
Right.
made him feel terrible. I didn't let him stay for the cake. I made him go home.
Rob.
Yeah, and my grandmother fixed it up. She did happy birthday,
shit.
Rifki, and she had chocolate chips. I thought it looked so bad, and this is my time to be
Right. To host,
and
to have your succession.
and so I really feel bad. And Uncle Ed, if you're listening, I'm really, really so sorry.
Is Uncle Ed alive?
No,
No
he
way.
died. He died 17 years. He died when I was 18. And the thing is I started as he was, because we started living with this really senior man, suddenly in the bathroom that was a railing, and we're like, Uncle Ed, you're really not walking good. But he was literally 85 by this point. And we're like,
He's like, I don't want these 10 kids roasted.
yeah. And I'm like, Uncle Ed, you pissed yourself. You got to go to the bathroom. But then one day I started realizing
Holy
he was
shit.
an old man.
Yeah.
Because I passed his room downstairs to see if he would give me a lift somewhere. But he was we would use him for rides all the time.
Oh my God. He was the original Uber.
Yeah. And I'm exactly. And I'm and he was really not feeling well. I was oh, you know what? He's sleeping. I'm going to go away. I have some seichel, some
So you walked
wherewithal
away?
that. But then I heard he said, hello, Rifki.
Oh
I
God.
said hi. And he had his leg up. Disgusting.
Jesus Christ. It's spotted.
And he's can you put a little ointment? He had frostbite. We live in Montreal, but he would wear his boots without socks sometimes because he couldn't get them on. It was so hard for him to reach.
Ay.
And he had purple, I don't know what it is,
He had, gangrene.
gangrene, and I'm
Oh,
I'm
did you have to rub it down?
15, and he's well, you do this, and it was a very big fork in the road moment for me, where I'm starting to mature. I'm 15. I'm this man lives in the cellar of his own duplex.
You're starting to click in.
He's in pain. He can't reach his own foot. I said, okay. And I was like, you're just going to do it, Rob. You're just going to fucking man up. I took the ointment on my fingers.
No!
On the ball of his foot and his toe. And I just sloughed it on, put a ton. And immediately he's going, It's immediate relief. Like it's like a cold, soothing ointment. Like for
so
like
moaning.
for this. He's like, he felt so much better. I was like, it's okay, Uncle Ed. He just felt so much better. He was like, thank you so much.
Oh God, Uncle Eddie. That's brutal.
That was brutal. That's what we grew up with.
Wow. Have you seen Better Things?
Yes, I love Better Things. Shout out to Pamela Adlin, who was very nice to me. My first and only day on set so far on History of the World Part 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
she was nice to you?
She was incredible.
She's terrific.
She's amazing. It's classy.
It's talented.
Beyond talented. So funny in real time. Hysterical. As funny as she is on TV. She's the same as she is on TV.
But that house, I've been watching it now. I'm on season 3.
Back. Yeah.
And the way her experience mothering those thankless children.
Yep.
And it's often what parenthood seems like, but I can't imagine doing it on the scale of like 10 children.
No.
But these kids who she's just endlessly, relentlessly sacrificing for, who just return that with just the worst, meanest attitude. I mean, and I understand that, like, in her story, they're the light of her life, those children.
Yeah.
But it looks just brutal.
Yeah, and we didn't have it like that. Like, we were really bad, like, sometimes. But sometimes we really, my mother started to really, like, when she calmed down and she started to be further away from the abuse of my father and stuff. Like, I remember at school going on a Shabbaton, which is a weekend away with your class. You go up like to nature or some type of cabin, camping type situation. We were staying in like a center, like almost like a motel type center. And the idea was you do a big Shabbat together and whatever, which is a big Friday night meal. And then you go to synagogue prayers, maybe Friday night, Saturday. And a lot of the kids had skipped the Saturday morning prayers to go and sneak into boys' rooms, listen to music, just chill and hang. Like some like cool kids snuck out in the back. So I snuck out too of synagogue. And I'm in a room with my friends and we're listening. We have a friend. It's early on when records came back. And he's got like a record player he brought. I'm like, it's the coolest guy on the planet Earth. And it's a guy from a rich school. Because we had like the Shabbaton was a few Jewish schools. And this is like a rich school. And I'm like, I have a chance with this guy. I could.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
And we're doing that. And we're having a good time listening to good music. Music I never heard. He's putting on like Bob Dylan. And, like getting cool. Like when you're 15, 16. And we get caught. Morel Yeshiva, may she rest in peace. So the assistant principal comes into the room. She caught red-handed. We're all in the room listening to music. We're not at synagogue.
Right.
She's like, everybody get back. We like turn off the music. We're like, fuck. Okay. Like the boys go to the boys section and girls. Okay. We're all running back. Like it's really, really bad. Like we don't know if we're going to have evening program. We don't know the punishment yet.
Right.
And she calls me back. She goes, Rifki. And I hang back, and she goes, you of all people. Because I'm on subsidy. I'm at the school free.
Oh.
So she throws it back in my face to some extent that you of all people.
Taking it for
2 reasons she's throwing it back. I'm more religious than everyone, so I should be at synagogue. I'm one of the more religious kids. I have the kosher diet. I have everything,
Okay. This is a double.
Yeah, so it's double. And I don't know what she fully meant by me of all people. So it was part of that. I was like, because I'm more religious. Or she was like, you know. And I was kind of like, we got away kind of that night, whatever. And I came back from the trip and I was kind of like doing homework or eating in the kitchen. I
almost thought it was like a compliment. Like she was holding you to a higher standard because she sees you as someone with
she
more
was like really
integrity.
mad at me. She like pulled me back. She's like, you of all people.
You disappointed
like, you should be
her.
ashamed. Really, really gave me a talking to. And I get home the next day. I'm like doing work. Getting ready for school in the kitchen. My mother's cleaning. We were often in the kitchen. It was really the only table we had. So everybody would do homework and stuff around the kitchen. And my mother was always like mopping with ammonia. And horrendous. Like vinegar. Look. And she was like, how was the Shabbaton? Paid $200. She paid $200 for it. Okay. So how was it? Was it worth the $200? Would you go again type thing?
Yeah.
And I was like, good. You know, we got in trouble. We listened to music. My mother loves music. So I was like, oh, we would listen to Bob Dylan. She goes, I was, you know, my mother loves records. So my mother wouldn't care that I'm skipping something. You know, she's like, I had a good time with my friends. And she was like, oh, you know, like we got in trouble. And obviously, Ellie, she like barged in and we got fucking nailed. And she yelled at me. She held me back and yelled at me, of all people. And my mother stops and she goes, what? What happened? I said, yeah, well, we all got in trouble. And then she was like mad at me. She's like, you of all people, and I just got to be good. And she was like, she singled you out? Next morning, my mother on the phone. My mother does not call school. Like, if you don't like your class, if you don't like anything, you tough it out. You make new friends. You know, like if you're not in your homeroom with your friends, your parents call. Not my mother. You'll make new friends.
Right.
I'm not calling nothing. And my mother called and had a word with them. And? You will not. You either help us to help, but you do not ever bring up to my kid that she's different.
Wow.
Like, she will not be, like, she stands up for us where she knows where it counts.
What did that set off so badly for her? The idea that
I would be in a different, that either help her, but don't throw it in her face. You take this kid at school, but she gets to get in trouble like every other kid. She gets to be every other kid.
Yeah.
You're not going to single her out because she doesn't have money or this or that. You're not going to teach her that.
Yeah.
I'll teach her everything to do with that. You're not going to make her feel. You're going to make her feel like any other kid because that's what you promised you would do when you took her.
So wait, now that everyone is out of the house.
Yeah.
Your mom, what is she up to? Does she ever date?
No, never dates.
Have you ever encouraged her to? Or?
Yeah, I think my mother is asexual or gay. I think she was gay, but I think my mother is so I think my mother really is, you know, autistic.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that, you know, we've all seen Love on the Spectrum and it's beautiful. I think she has an asexuality as well to her. I think she's super traumatized by my father, obviously. But then she was like gay again. She was curious because once I was in the kitchen doing like university work, I would always visit and do homework there. And my mother like came into the kitchen doorway and she's like, do the women always have to touch? And I was like, well, yeah, Ma. I was like gay by this point. I was like, it's kind of really the whole point is, you know, what's the difference of a friend? And I'm explaining to her very elementary, the difference of a friend and somebody who's more than friends would probably be the touch aspect. She goes, oh, okay, never mind. You know, and then the next week it would be like, well, there's this woman, you know, butch type. I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, she's a nurse and she owns her own condominium. Okay. I don't, you know, this butch drives a motorcycle and owns her own, because my mother inherited, my great uncle had died.
Yeah.
And my mother inherits this dilapidated shithole. But in my mom's mine, I'm a homeowner now. People like that. It's worth negative. It's a full liability. Like it's a tear down. It's literally a tear down.
Yeah.
And the land is worth nothing. We're on top of a subway station. Like,
yeah.
It's a tear down. You know. Well, no, I was like, okay, she owns her own car, so she's not after. You know, I'm like, nobody's after this dump. You got to get it through your head.
Yeah.
That this is a teardown.
Right.
Okay, we're missing. Look up. There's a whole, you know, like, no, but literally, it would be like, it's like, you can't imagine. It's like driving through Detroit, you see some of those houses, like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But my mother's a homeowner now, so excuse me. I'm like, her being a homeowner became so crazy. But she said, no, as a homeowner, there's risks and there's people, they seek out women. And, you know, I said, okay, well, she has her own.
People are gonna
she thinks people like want to get
take her for a ride.
You take her for a ride, live in this absolute dump that literally, I'm like, Mom, there's
She's
a road
in Canada.
Yeah, Montreal. Yeah. Shit area. Literally like the ghetto of Montreal. Like when I tell people still, it's like still not up and coming even now, 20 years later. Like they're still like, oh, like it's never.
Right.
Somebody told me it will never be up and coming.
Wow.
It's like what? It's like the worst. I love my friend. Like I was like, well, you never know. And they're like, it will never be up and coming. I was like, okay. But my mother was exchanging records with this. You know that my mother collects a ton of music, very into literature. And so my mother was going to her, taking the bus, bringing a couple records on. They would listen a couple hours to music, and my mother would go home. Then the next week, she would come over, bring my mother some music. They would listen to some music, 2 hours, my mother would say, okay. Like, my mother's 2 hours. Oh, we've had a couple hours together.
Yeah.
And they did this for a long time,
Wow.
months, I don't know, 3 months. And then my mother asked me, she goes, well, I don't think I would ever do anything. I'm like, well, obviously, Ma, you're the bottom. You're a girl. My mom's very feminine. She's like in dresses and stuff. I'm like, yeah, believe me, this butch knows what the hell. Okay, you're the girl. It's okay. You don't, because my mother goes, I would never make a move. I'm
Right.
like, yeah, nobody's we know. Okay, Ma, we know.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry. She knows what she's doing. And she said, my mother said, I would never make a move. But if she, I don't know if she made a move.
Oh, she said that.
Yeah. And I said, okay, well, Ma, you don't have to put pressure. Just whatever feels natural and good, and see how it's going. Yes. We're having a wonderful time spending time together. She's so brilliant and wonderful conversation. She's got wonderful taste in music. Okay, so I said, okay, so see how it goes, and know that you're open, and that's good, and you don't have to do anything. Yeah. You never have to do anything you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Another 3 months go by. They're exchanging music, books. Still once a week. That's the pace my mother wants. And then at some point, the girl, like 6 months in, she's seeing this girl. She tried to kiss my mother. My mother said, it's much too fast. My mother cut the whole thing off. She's moving too fast.
Really?
Yeah. Moving way too fast.
Wow.
Way too fast.
6 months, once a week.
Yeah. Way too fast. Out of line.
Out
of line. My mother thought, out of line.
What did you say?
I said, okay, well, it's not that, everybody works at different speeds. If it's too fast, my mother, I understand. First of all, this woman had 10 kids by 30. Too fast suddenly to kiss. Okay. So figure her math. Okay. It's way too fast. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, I don't want to. And it really rubbed my mom the wrong way.
Wow.
And she never saw her again. And then she found Jesus. She did Jehovah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. She did, Messianic Judaism, which is Christianity, which is, a Jews for Jesus light cult.
Yeah.
She seems to be on the way out of that.
Oh, she's on the way out.
Yeah, she it's like a relationship for her. So she has to get bored 2-3 years. When she's learned everything about it,
wow,
she needs
has
something
like a voracious appetite for
Yeah. She, I would love if she fell into, Buddhism or something like that.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, but so it's great. But yeah, she doesn't talk so much because I'm like, how's she, I once told her, because when she was in the height of her Jews for Jesus moments, she said, any kind of a wedding with you, I couldn't go to. My mother loves me so much. But
she said that?
Yeah, but she suddenly has to become homophobic. And it's like, I'm like, Ma, what sins have you done that you're always atoning for sin? Like, this lady has hurt nobody, had 10 kids for the cause, doesn't even talk badly, doesn't do anything like that.
Right.
Yet she's constantly... But it's men, and people have told her whole life, not my grandfather, but anyone she met outside of the safety of her home, that she's not good enough.
Ugh.
That she is bad.
Yeah.
And she's only ever been good. But she doesn't understand that. So
that's heartbreaking.
So, yeah, I know it's not coming from her when she goes, it breaks her heart to be like, any kind of a wedding I can go to. And I said, first of all, you're assuming you're invited. Okay, I don't know how much of the family is coming to any type of wedding. And then I told her, I said, but it's okay because Jesus loves me. And she goes, oh yeah. It's like my mother turns into 6. She's simultaneously the most brilliant and dumbest gullible person I know. I go, I just know Jesus loves me so much. Everything I've learned about Jesus, Ma, lets me know that he just loves me. And he doesn't care what anybody thinks about me. He loves me as I am for who I am. And she goes, oh yeah. I said, yeah, I have a very good relationship with God.
She said that?
Yeah, and God has protected me and loved me for me and just the way I am. And she really took to that. Yes, he does love you.
Wow.
Yeah. So it really worked, like, to lean into her thing. I was like, because what's she going to say? Jesus hates me? Have you ever heard that?
No.
I thought he loved everyone.
Right.
He loves the
she
poor.
Loved that.
He loves
she
the
loved
sick.
That
he
Jesus
loves
you. I love you too.
I love you so much.
This was just, it was such a treat to just, I could let you talk forever.
See?
You're so fascinating.
Love you.
To listen to. You're a great storyteller.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing so honestly.